What's up, guys? This is Platypus Bob. Welcome to episode 2 of the Pokemon Emerald Let's Play. Just to refresh, in the last episode, we were trying to find May, our neighbor and future rival, on Route 103, I believe, right above Oldale Town. And there's just one thing I want to discuss before we actually move on. Let's just have a look at our Pokemon's stats. So, the most important thing on this page, I think, is the ability. Every Pokemon has an ability that they are caught with, and usually there are a lot of different ones. They all have big effects in battle. Some Pokemon have the choice of one or the other. Sometimes one is much better than the other, so you're going to want to, if you want a Pokemon with a certain ability, then you should check here to make sure you're getting the right one. The Torchic's ability is Blaze, as you can see, and I think that means that when it has less than a third of its health, it makes the attack power of fire moves much higher. Farther down the page, another very important stat is the nature. Natures affect the individual stat values of your Pokemon. Some natures will hinder certain stat values while buffing other ones. I'm not actually going to worry about natures in this just because I think it would be too much of a hassle, but usually natures are something to keep an eye out for because they can have a great effect on your Pokemon. Moving over. This is the main stats page. First you have HP. This is just your core health points, how much damage you can take before your Pokemon faints. Next is attack. Attack is how much damage physical moves will do. Half of the types in the game are physical, and half of them are special, I believe. In 4th generation, this changes. But I'm pretty sure in this game, there are just certain moves that are physical. I can't remember them off the top of my head, but I will put them on the screen, maybe. Defense is how well your Pokemon can stand up to hits from those physical moves. Special attack is how well you do with the special moves. Special defense is how well you can stand up to those special moves. And speed is a stat that the core number itself doesn't usually matter, but it's actually more important that it's more important in comparison to what you're fighting against. If your speed is higher, you'll be able to go first, which can, in some battles, make a huge difference. And in double battles, also, it's pretty important to be able to plan your attacks, because in double battles in this game, you can do some pretty crazy stuff if you know what you're doing. On the moves page, you can just see the stats for each move. Over to the side, you can see its power and accuracy. Power is essentially a random constant, or not random, but an arbitrary constant that a move can have. It doesn't actually say how much damage it does, but it just gives a way to compare. And accuracy is that's a stat. It's how many times out of 100 it'll hit, essentially. And then next to the move, you'll see PP. That's how many times the move can be used for regenerating the PP. It's almost like ammunition, if you want to view it like that. So, now that we have kind of gone over more of the core basics of the game, I think we're going to move on with the story. Off screen, if you saw, I actually trained up my Torchic a little just because I want it to be at a pretty high... Whoops, that's not what I meant to go to. I want it to be on a pretty high level for something that's coming up, because I know that there's a kind of important battle coming up. So yeah, we're going to move on north. and it's May, so let's talk to her. So this battle, as most battles with May are, I find to be pretty tough. May always has the Pokemon that has the opposite type of you. What I mean by that is, out of the 3 starting types, they almost form a rock, paper, scissors relationship. Critical hit, that's not good. I really don't want to lose this battle, it'll just be embarrassing. But water is good against fire, fire is good against grass, grass is good against water. So May will always pick the one that is better against you. Alright, so since I was pretty overleveled for that battle, it went pretty easily. Get lots of experience from it. But if you try to go into that battle on level 5, you might find yourself with some difficulty. But May will kind of be at random points in the game, a lot like Gary Oak in other games. Pretty much make sure, it's almost like a level check. Make sure your Pokemon are at a high enough level to be getting through, because usually you can't progress without beating them. So now we're going to go back, meet Professor Birch in his lab. First, I'd like to heal. Best jingle in all of video gaming. Alright, May's still here. What's she have to say? Alright, well, she's just making sure you're not getting distracted. I'm just going to show you something real quick. Even if you were tempted to go out to the west, this guy has a fit. He thinks he discovered footprints. You don't want to screw him up. So, you can't go there yet. It's kind of equivalent to the old man on the ground who hadn't had his coffee in first gen. There are a lot of parallels to draw between all the games. Alright, so now we're here. I don't know why May has an extensive history as a trainer. That's something I've never quite understood, but that's okay. So the Pokédex is a pretty important item to have just for the game story. Pretty much every time you catch Pokemon, it'll be registered in your Pokédex. And the whole point, I guess, of the game is to fill it up, even though that's damn near impossible for many reasons. Alright. Now, our mom is standing outside our house. I'm going to assume that's important. So now we have the running shoes. This is the first game with running shoes. They're a really excellent item. There's actually some interesting characteristics of running besides just that you move faster. If there are trainers that are kind of patrolling an area where they look in all directions, if you try to walk slowly past them, you can usually avoid them. But if you run, it's kind of like they can hear you, and they'll turn and look at you. Same with tall grass. When you're in tall grass, if you run, the more likely it is you'll have a random encounter. So, now we can see this guy's gone. Let's see. He was looking at his own footprints. He's an idiot. We're going to keep on moving. I think when we get to the next town, I'm going to cut it off. Pretty sure one of these guys gives you a potion. I really want to find it. I just am not doing well with the controls on the computer. Ralts is a pretty rare Pokemon to start out with. It's pretty much only available on this first route. It's a Psychic type. Its evolutions are equivalent, I think, to Abracadabra and Alakazam, except Ralts is just a lot better. I don't want to use it for my team, so I'm actually just going to get rid of it for experience. What I've decided for random encounters is the first time I see a Pokemon, I'll I'll talk about it, or if I'm talking, I'm just gonna keep talking. But otherwise, I'm just gonna speed through them. Maybe. What's nice is playing on a computer. Spacebar lets you just speed up the game to about 3 times. But yeah, I would highly recommend Ralts. Actually, it's pretty rare. That's the only issue I could see with it at the beginning. It's a great special attacker, and you don't need to trade it to get it to its highest evolution like you do with Abracadabra and Alakazam. Alright, so this guy's going to be our first Pokemon trainer. There are only a couple differences between wild battles and trainer battles. First one being, you cannot run from a trainer battle. You can't, also if a trainer, locks eyes with you, essentially if you walk in front of him, he'll fight you, up to 5 blocks, usually. And then you can't catch other trainers' Pokemon. And then you get a lot more experience from trainer battles. So Poochyena is a Pokemon that should be available on this route. It's pretty basic. It's a dark type, so it gives it a little more of a weakness, but it also can give it some big advantages. It evolves, I think, at a pretty high level into just another pretty generic Pokemon. Let's get another trainer battle. I like them. Bug catchers are pretty much always at the beginning of games, just because bug types are very underpowered. They have a lot of weaknesses and they don't have much that they're good against. But Wurmple is a lot like a Caterpie. It evolves at a very low level into like a cocoon sort of Pokemon that's not very good, and then after that it can evolve into some sort of butterfly. So that's cool. Level 9, we're leveling up pretty fast, and it's probably going to be that way because with my planned out team, I don't think I'm going to be catching anything new to my team for a while, so my Torchic is going to end up being pretty over-leveled, and that's our first one-hit KO. Those always make me happy. Alright, moving on. I don't think this is a trainer. Ha. Just sped through that. Oh, another trainer. Alright, I didn't realize there were so many. This episode might be a little long. I forgot to time this one, but that's okay. Zigzagoon is a normal type. It's a lot like Rattata. Sorry if all of these metaphors are just going over anyone's head if you haven't played the first generation of Pokemon. But yeah, it's just a normal type, fairly offensive and fairly fast. Tailo is the generic flying type. It only evolves once, but it's very fast once again, and I mean, I don't like to just use what's thrown at you at the beginning of the game, but there are a lot of good Pokemon. So now that I've learned Ember, I can talk about another important thing in Pokemon, and that is called Same Type Attack Bonus, or Stab, as I call it. Pretty much, if your Pokemon is a certain type, like Fire type, and you learn a Fire move, you can. Well, let me open up my my Pokemon stats to maybe demonstrate this a little better. You gotta move Ember. Move Ember. Okay. Says it has 40 power. Well, since I'm a Fire type, and that's a Fire move, it's actually going to be moved up to 60 power because it gets multiplied by 1.5. So that's really cool. It's very important to keep in mind your same type attack bonuses. So eventually, if you keep in mind your same type attack bonuses, you keep in mind your ability, you keep in mind your nature, you keep in mind your Pokemon stats, you can optimize a Pokemon to be really good. These interesting little trees over here are berry bushes. Berry bushes are actually really cool in this game. They grow everywhere. There are tons of types of berries, and a lot of them have actually like in-game effects. Like Oran berries restore health. Pecha berries, I think, cure paralysis or poison or something along those lines. And also, if you have berries, you can plant them in that kind of soil. And I'm just going to sneak past this person and maybe off-screen them since it's not a mandatory battle. Alright, here's Petalburg City. I will describe it in the next episode, but now that we've made it here, I think I'm going to end it off. So I'll see y'all later.